Hello and welcome to Dad's Our Job Podcast, episode 3. And this is your host, Adam Leatherbarrow. I'm joined with Rob Halton, Callum Halton. Guys, how are we getting on?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you, Adam? You alright? It's been emotional this morning.
It's been quite a testing. You're not my daughter by any chance, I am very testing. No, so basically we've just been mucking about with the microphones for a mic test for the past 30 to 45 minutes, and we've just found out that Callum has actually got an input volume button on his mic.
Can I just say it's hidden, and none of us knew it was there. That's a good bit of kit.
It's all right.
Well, it is until you start messing about with it for 3/4 of an hour and wasting an evening. But we're here, guys. We're here. We're alive. We're kicking. We haven't strangled each other. So yeah, we're here.
I think you're undercooking that, Adam. At one point, I thought you were going to cry and start rocking in the corner.
That's just my experience of being a kid at school, like a fat ginger kid at secondary school, just sitting there rocking in the corner.
Look at him poking with a stick.
Yeah. Oh God, memories.
No. How's everyone's week been?
Yeah, it's been good. Weather's been quite nice, hasn't it? And yeah, it's been good.
Living the best life.
Living our best lives, mate.
So what's your XG for this week then?
My XG?
Yeah.
Own goals. No, in terms of family goals this week, it has been mostly potty training. So,
you're brave.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a bit easier with a girl. I'm led to believe anyway. But we started potty training last month, and she was getting the hang of it, and then she regressed massively and was just quite adamant against it. But the past week, she's been taking her potty to nursery. She's been doing the wheeze there, and then she went out with Kerry for the shops, and she's just taking it like a natural. So it's been quite good. Dry nappies, which are always good before she wants to go away. Sorry, this is toilet humour of a different level. We'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, she's been doing a really good job and really positive signs. And today she actually used the toilet properly rather than a potty. So yeah, big steps.
So 2 steps forward to leapfrog.
Yeah, that's it.
2 steps back to leapfrog forward.
That's it. Yeah, she'll be driving next week.
Yeah, that's big. Bo's not interested at all, mate. Nah. He's like, he won't even change the nappy. Kicks off. It's like World War III. He's having it large. He runs away, screams, "Don't come near me!" No, I'm joking. He doesn't really say it, but he hates it. He hates his nappy being changed. Right.
To be fair, you said something about who are easier, boys or girls. Just for the experience of having a boy and a girl, Danny was by far so much easier to potty train than Alea has been. Alea is very stubborn and knows her own mind, and Danny just was ready super early, and he was potty trained. He was much easier to potty train than Alea has been.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Bo not interested. We even spoke to his nursery and was like, any inklings at nursery? Is he interested? Is he showing interest? Not showing any interest at all. Even they said leave it a little bit longer, and then we'll see. If he shows interest at a later date. But yeah, not interested in using potty. I mean, he likes going to the toilet and watching. Being inquisitive in that sense, but not himself using it. So, but I have spoke to the missus and said it's getting to a point where we might have to instigate it and show a bit more interest in doing it. But yeah, that is a big deal, and what a money saver that's going to be for you, Adam, long term. And nappies no more. Well, that's that third mortgage you don't got to pay for anymore, getting them nappies every week.
Mummy, wow, I'm a big girl now.
So did you score any goals this week, or is it all own goals?
That's got to be the win, isn't it?
That's not an own goal.
That's a massive win.
Sorry. You said something. You said about you started off with her not being going backwards. That's why.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a massive positive with like I say, she started. She was like, it was all new. Like the Peppa Pig stickers were out, the wall chart, and then she just lost complete interest in the stickers. Then she wanted chocolates for rewards. Then
you got to worry when she wants shots, mate.
shots, yeah. Tequila shots for going away, yeah. But then obviously when the chocolate comes out, and then it's like, well, can I have a chocolate without going to the toilet as a reward? And it's like, well, no, it's not how it works. And then she's just lost interest. But yeah, the past week she's picked it up, so it's it's a good family goal. Own goal wise, I can't really say that there has been, if I'm completely honest. Yeah, not this week anyway.
Okay.
I know the week before was a few own goals, but yeah, chance conversion rate is quite good this week.
Okay.
What about yourselves, guys?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I feel like I went 1-0 down this week, or over the last few weeks. Speaking to someone who has an 11-year-old who's about to go into secondary school, and I imagine that we'll have people who are listening who have got kids who are going into secondary school in the next couple of weeks. I kind of feel like the change is coming, guys. Right, the change is coming. So he left year 6. He was this sweet boy, and he just wanted to please everyone. He was eager to please, and he couldn't wait to get some sort of positive response from you, Danny. And then all of a sudden, over the last sort of 6 weeks, things have started to change. Right, like he started to answer back, or he started to parent his sister, and we're like, what the hell is going on with you, D? And then so it's almost been like, it reminds me of that Harry Enfield episode where it's his 12th birthday.
Oh God, yes.
And then he's 13.
Thank you, mummy. This dinner is delicious. Then he's 13. Bang.
I hate you. And so I feel like I went down.
Can I just say, what an absolute ledge comedian that guy is. I mean, that is just, he's bang on with that, isn't he?
Yeah, and it is so true. And so I feel like for the last couple of weeks, it's like the 89th minute, right? And we've been 1-0 down for 89 minutes. And like I said, it's been a crazy time for us. But in the 90th minute, maybe the 6th minute of extra time, we pulled one back. Right, we pulled one back, guys, because yesterday in the field opposite our house. In the fields opposite our houses, right? So in our little cul-de-sac at the end, right?
Yeah. Where just for the record, where your wife feeds the muntjacs on purpose.
Where Kelly feeds the muntjacs among other animals on purpose. Some kids had set off a fire, right?
What
in that little field opposite our
really?
Yeah. And Danny had come back to the house to tell us.
House to police, I hope you're listening to this.
And so Danny had come back to tell us, and because Danny told us, we were able to get the fire brigade in and put out the fire. So we've had this kind of gradual increasing 6 weeks of kind of tension and a little bit of conflict, and all of a sudden Danny comes through with the goods and pulled an absolute blinder and did something that was so important, and who knows what the consequences could have been. It's been very hot where we are. The ground is very dry. It's quite a big patch of burnt ground, and like I said, I think Danny's been invited to the fire station in Houstead to have a little look around because of what he did.
Probably short on staff, mate.
They see the talent already. Look,
but so like I said, it's been a tough 89 minutes, but we pulled it back, and I feel like we finished the week on a 1-1 draw, and I'll take that. So that's my.
I think that's massive credit to little man.
Yeah.
To recognise, because let's be honest, it has been that grass would have gone. We could have been in big trouble. Not just the grassland, the farmland.
Yeah.
It's so close to the residential properties and stuff. And it has been dried. So take my hat off to him. Top draw.
I must admit,
I'm proud of him.
As he's just about to start secondary school, grassing up someone else so early is probably so up nipping the bum.
Yeah, we're not talking about someone taking someone's pen though, Adam, are we?
I can just imagine his head being flushed down the Connie's potty.
Well, hopefully not for stopping a fire, my friend.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah, is it you who started the fire? Adam? Is that what it was?
No, I'm not surprised. Snitches wear, was it? Snitches get stitches.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Oh God, yeah. Oh, the worst saying in the world. So my own goal this week was obviously Bo. We pay for nursery all year round. Obviously, I work in a school. Me and Moose work in a school, so we have to pay for nursery all year round. And to be fair, it's more an own goal to myself. I felt bad sending Bo into nursery so that we could prepare for. Well, we've got a wedding this weekend actually, as well as going back to school next week. So I think it's been more of a me feeling bad sending him in, and not sort of taking advantage of the time to spend with him. Even though obviously you spend time with him in the morning and in the evening, it's not the same as doing stuff throughout the day. So I think that's more me feeling guilty as a parent and not using the summer holidays to really, or the last week of the summer holidays to really do stuff with him. But then it has also been a benefit to, I think more mentally prepare for going back to work next week, as well as getting ready for the wedding. But the main goal for us this week was what we've been I don't know about you fellas, but we've been working with Bo around kindness and showing kindness and being nice and being kind hands and all that sort of stuff. He's 2 years old, and I suppose all kids, you want to make sure your child is a good child. And we got some lovely feedback from the nursery this week, where basically a few kids have been got hurt, fallen over, bumped their heads, but Bo has been running over and trying to make sure they're okay and giving them hugs and said it's okay, you think all we want is for me, all I want is Bo to be a nice, kind person, and the nursery to feed back and say, he showed that, and obviously that's something that we've been working with him at home about, are you okay, and all them sort of things, and he showed that this week, so massively well chuffed with him, and hopefully that continues.
That's good. It's good to see the caring side come out of him and looking out for the little guy like Danny.
Yeah.
When he gets,
I thought he was going to say Rob.
Danny's going to be fine.
Danny will be fine. He's a good kid.
He's
Very
going to
good
smash it
kid.
at secondary school.
Just a quick one, just to finish up on the family goals and own goals segment. I would just like to give a quick shout out to Nathan Rogers. He is a very active Twitter account and person who has been listening to our podcast from day one, and a regular listener. And I know we've only done 2, but he is genuinely very, very, let's say, our first official fanboy, let's say, part of the Dodge squad.
Yeah.
And the DOJ squad.
Did you just make that up?
Did I just make that up?
Yeah, the Dodge squad.
No, that's been in the pub since December. But yeah, special shout out to Nathan J. Rogers. You can find him on Twitter at Nathan J. Rogers. He's a Burnley fan, and he is a freelance graphic designer. If people are interested in some really cool graphic design work by Nathan. So yeah, thanks Nathan. Thanks for sticking with us, and hopefully we can keep you entertained for many more episodes to come.
Yeah, thank you for our graphics as well.
Yeah,
the Oasis stuff was great, especially on Tuesday when Oasis were announcing their comeback.
That's it.
After two brothers that have had spats, we've followed this through with 2 more brothers that will have spats during the quizzes over the past.
Let's have that spat now. Are you an Oasis man or a Blur bloke?
Ooh, that is a great question.
Why not both? I think both are great.
Oasis.
Pardon?
Oh yeah,
Oasis.
A Blur-asis.
Yes,
I'm not sure. I think. I mean, it's just. I think you're comparing like cheese and chalk. I think they're different. I don't know why you would need to. I don't know why you need to compare them other than this kind of like 90s.
This is exactly why. To be fair, I must admit I do love both, but that is.
They've both got bangers, but they're just different. They're just different music. I don't even like the term Britpop. If I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a fan of that either. I think they're both like rock bands in their own right, but they're very different rock bands.
Can I also say they made a lot of money out of that? That rivalry.
Oh yeah.
Fans were going nuts for it, and the amount of money they must have made in record sales and whatever. So they ain't done bad for both bands. But yeah, I must admit I'm a fan of both. But
yeah,
I remember when Blur dropped Tender, And I was just like, what a song. Do
Yeah,
you remember that song?
Yeah.
But
Come on.
yeah.
Come on.
Get to it.
Get
I also think there probably hasn't been much better songs than, like Champagne Supernova or, Don't Look Back in Anger.
Yeah. I think for me, I would always kind of steer more towards Blur just because of the Essex factor, really. As a southern sort of boy, I can understand all the Northerners being more Oasis led, but I think for me, Blur kind of edges it for me. But I've always had Oasis on in the background, like years and years ago. And if you're ever going to go and see a band make their comeback, I think you've got Oasis or one of them bands you just have to see, even if you're not a fan.
So I agree with you 100%. Tickets are released. No one seems to know the prices. Little game between us. Yeah, who can get the closest? How much is average ticket's going to be?
Well, Wembley,
Yeah.
I reckon it's definitely maybe 200 quid.
Rob?
Did you say 200?
I reckon it's got to be starting 200.
Yeah.
It has to be, yeah. Has to be.
Go on, Rob.
If they're on for like almost 2.5 hours, 3 hours, because their catalogue is so huge. And you got to remember, they've also got their individual stuff as well, like High Flying Birds and...
Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds.
Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds, and what was Liam Gallagher's one called?
I can't remember.
Yes, I will figure that.
I think they're going to be about 120 quid.
I'm going to go £175 a ticket. Average ticket. Just so you know, I met one of the Gallagher brothers in, I can't remember, I think it was Liam, but I don't want to quote myself on that, but in Hampstead ice cream bar.
Yeah.
He come in with his son, yeah. Miserable bastard. But no, I'm joking, he's not. But no, he's a really nice bloke actually. I sort of just said hello and he ate his ice cream and I ate mine. But yeah.
Were you sitting next to him?
No.
Tried yourself next to him, see what he was doing.
I tried to. Then his security said, get lost. No. He was literally there by himself with his son. It was quite nice. Like, no, we both ordered and he went off and yeah. But I can't remember which one it was.
I thought Liam Gallagher had something like Soup, didn't he, when he was in that place for you? So he might have had a roll with it.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh, Lord. Oh, no.
That's awful, isn't it?
I tried, but...
on that note, should we start talking about
on that note, in terms of them both being huge Man City fans, we're going to have to... Let's say we're going to...
Are they both Man City fans?
Yeah, they're both Man City fans.
Yeah, massive.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought... Oh, right, okay.
So on that sort of segue, earlier this week we lost beloved Sven Goran Eriksson on Monday. And so again, so very deeply saddened by that, especially being an ex-England manager, first foreign England manager to take over the team, and quite possibly one of our greatest golden generation collection of footballers, in terms of Beckham as the captain, Ashley Cole, that we've spoken about previously, even going into the likes of Rooney.
He definitely had the gold, what we would call our Galacticos back in the 90s, late early 2000s. Do you know what? Yeah, I was looking this up earlier, and it's about stats, and obviously, he managed 101 games or so. Can you have a little guess? It's a game of quiz for you two, because I'm getting myself back for the Horton versus Horton for later. Win ratio, lads, or percentages? You want to have a guess, Rob?
100, how many games? 100 plus.
So yeah, basically 1,000 games.
Oh, what, across his whole career?
Yeah.
Oh, across his whole career, what are these average win percent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got to be 68.
Probably successful manager.
68%, I'll go.
Okay,
That's interesting you say that. I'll get to that in a minute.
I'm going to say 61%.
Wow, okay, fellas, very high. 48%. He won 485 games. He lost 256 and he drew 260. Now, I say this is interesting, right? Because I thought of the two biggest managers probably in that time. So I thought Arsene Wenger and Ferguson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say it?
For us as British fans, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, you agree with that, fellas? Yeah. So let's go Arsenal first. Arsenal's win ratio, and now the internet's gone down, is... So can I just say this is Premier League, but obviously not just full games. So Arsenal actually holds the record for the most Premier League games managed. And
What, over Fergie?
Yeah.
Really?
But it's something I could tell you. Hold on, if I can find it now.
I suppose how many years more did Wenger stay in charge of Arsenal when Ferguson retired?
It's quite a few, isn't it?
But then I suppose on the other foot is how many years did Fergie manage Man United before Arsene Wenger come in charge?
Well, he was there at the inception, so that was 91, right? Premier League?
Yeah, they won the first Premier League, yeah. As stated on the quiz last week.
Yeah, that's right. So, and then I think Wenger came in 97?
97.
I think it was 96 or 97. No, because you've done the double in 97.
Because you got him from...
So I can tell you the fact. He managed 828 Premier League games. Yeah, which is 18 ahead of Sir Alex Ferguson.
And I bet I could tell you his third.
Go on.
David Moyes.
Correct. Do you know with what? I could tell you the answer. I'd be very impressed if you get that.
I wouldn't know. It must be... How many...
How much do you think it is?
It must be 800.
No.
No.
But I was quite surprised it was him, but it was 658.
Right, okay. Because I do recall him celebrating 600 games whilst being West Ham manager, so that's the only reason I would potentially know that. But 800, that's a bit ambitious on my part, but still, you can't be sniffed at. David Moyes, third longest reigning manager in Premier League, and that over what, 4 clubs?
Yeah, because you've got Everton, United,
Sunderland, and West Ham.
Right.
So, if I think I've got this right, if I'm reading this right, Arsene Wenger's win ratio is 57%. And what do you think Fergie's is?
Well, in comparison to Sven's, so Sven's was what, 48, wasn't it? You said?
I said it was 48, correct.
So Fergie, yours, it must be less, wasn't it?
What, less than 48?
No, less than Wenger's.
Oh.
Oh,
no, I don't
know.
reckon it was. No, I reckon maybe. What did you say? 57 for Wenger. 59.
I think he managed 860 matches, and he won 528.
Well, that's
how many titles is that?
That's 13.
Yeah, was it 13 titles?
Oh, he won ridiculous. I think it works out about 67% ratio.
Yeah.
So he is the top bloke.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I actually was quite surprised when I was looking at these stats. I thought, you think of, and can I just say that's obviously them two managing one club.
Yeah.
So that's consistent players, and knowing your team, knowing the outfit. They laid their stamp down over, what is it, 20 odd years they were there at each club. Sven managed at multiple clubs, international. That's all the games that he played. I think that's pretty impressive, really. 48% in win ratio at different clubs. Building your team in a short period of time. I was quite surprised at being that high, to be honest with you. But
yeah.
I mean, obviously the news, and all the different platforms out there have praised him of what he's done and what he did during them years. And I think he's given us some fantastic memories. We were talking earlier, and I was saying about the free kick of David Beckham against Greece. I think for me that is probably, other than the most recent championships, that is probably one of my biggest memories. Being a young boy, man, and him scoring that, and everyone going absolutely bananas. I think that's probably my fondest memory as a international fan,
Yeah.
not being an arsehole, you know, that's one I can definitely remember screaming at the TV at.
I think one of the most notable results for me would have to be the 5-1 victory
yeah,
against Germany. I mean,
Mm.
I was just not expecting that at all. I believe we went 1-0 down, and Germany was strangely wearing a green kit, and where England were wearing a home
And
kit.
it was away, wasn't it?
No, it was at Munich.
Yes, I say it's away. We were away.
Yeah. So it was at the old Munich Olympic Stadium. The stadium I visited actually, which is quite interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, and to see that result going after 1-0 down, with you could just tell how good he was at the time for England, because he played Nicky Barmby left wing in that game, and to beat Germany, who ended up becoming World Cup runners up the year after that result, is quite a staggering result. I must admit. But I think, like, in terms of like club career as well, I mean, he managed a lot of teams in Italy, didn't he? I think Sampdoria, Lazio.
I think Lazio
Roma.
was. Yeah, I mean, for me, Lazio was. Well, Lazio, he was meant to be going to. Was it Aston Villa or? And then he basically changed his mind. I can't remember. He was going somewhere. Basically, he changed his mind and then ended up going to Lazio because it was, you know, too good to turn down. But he was meant to come somewhere in England.
Yeah.
And ended up changing his mind and going to Lazio. Benfica.
Yeah, his name's Benfica as well, right?
Yeah, managed Benfica. As you said, Roma, but I think Benfica is where he got most of his joy. Lazio again. Multiple international clubs, international teams. Mexico, Ivory Coast, Philippines. But I think, not to go on too much, but I think what comes across the most at the moment, which is quite nice, ex-players coming out and talking about what a gentleman he was.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know, he's always going to be sort of linked to some of the drama that was around him, with especially with his time in England.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, loads of people said about how calm and I think one of the things that actually stand out for me when his last tournament is when he come out. Knowing that he was going, about looking after Rooney and that he was our golden boy. I think that stands out a lot for me in the sense of looking after your players and saying and that was the time when the media really ripped into the England squad, and basically wanted to hang players at the end of each squad tournament if we didn't do too well. And I think that stands out a lot, especially playing football. A gaffer to come out and go, look after him is pretty impressive, I must admit. So I know that we all think reasonably highly of him, and we've got good memories and stuff of him, and it is a loss. So,
yeah. I think one of the for me personally wasn't anything to do with international football at all. It was when he dramatically became Man City manager, and I think they'd just been bought out by. It was like Thailand businessman, I think Thaksin Shinawatra or something. And I think he only had it for a year. And I think Sven was only there for a year. And then that's when the Arab state, or basically the sovereign state, bought Man City that year after. But that season was it was like, we need to be a bit worried here because of the owner that they had. At the time, they were buying people like Elano, and then they started. I remember the first game. It was Man City v West Ham, and they done us 2-0 at Upton Park. And I'm trying to think. I think Ronaldo Bianchi was the striker, and I think he bagged the goal, and I think Giovanni bagged the goal as well. And they had some really good players back then. And then he got them to a level, and I think his last game for Man City was that he lost 8-1 to Middlesbrough at Middlesbrough, the last game of the season. I think, it was just
that was it.
That was it, and I think that he knew it was out. But during that summer, just there was a seismic shift in terms of the ownership after 1 year, going from a rich Thailand businessman to the sovereign state, which has made them kind of like the foundations as to what the club they are today. Again, with the allegations looming, alleged allegations pending. in between that. But yeah, I think that's probably my first-hand experience of Sven was expected to beat Man City, and they absolutely wiped the floor of us with this investment. So yeah, right yourself, Rob.
Right. So I think obviously my thoughts go out to Sven's family, and the way that he declined. I think it's awful because nobody wants to see anything like that because it's awful.
I think with his decline, it was a sense of dignity, wasn't it? Because I think he knew his number was up, and he knew his time was ending, and I think it was quite nice that the fact a lot of the football clubs recognised, like, oh, hang on a minute, we need to show our appreciation for this guy for whatever he's done in whatever way, shape or form possible. And he went on that little tour, didn't he? He went to Sampdoria, Lazio. I think he even managed Liverpool because that was the team he supported.
In a Legends game, didn't he?
That was a nice little touch, to be fair.
Yeah, that was class.
Yeah.
But sorry.
No, go on. I mean, I thought the whole thing was very dignified, and I thought he was excellent. And some of the things that he said in his final sort of, I don't want to say press releases, but you know what I mean. His final releases to the footballing community were wonderful, and I can't even comprehend being able to say that myself if I knew what was going to happen. But I also think we're in a bit of danger of misremembering his tenure as England manager. And I think that it's been a little bit romanticised, if I'm being completely honest. And I think that, the media, particularly the way they're representing him now as opposed to then, I think is very kind of like, I think it's not the way they would. I just don't think it's the way they were treating him then. So
yeah. No, that's understandable.
And I just kind of feel like,
well, that's how far the game's gone now, isn't it? I think back then there was no sense of well-being or safeguarding anyone within the media.
No,
I know that's still around today, but they were cutthroat back. They were cutthroat back in the day, weren't they? And they
I know,
people out to dry.
But do you know what? So, like, in our lifetimes, right? Sven is arguably the second most successful England manager in our lifetimes. Arguably, right? You can debate who the other one is that he's going off against, if you like.
Or would you say third? Yeah,
no, but I'm saying,
obviously winning the World Cup with Alf Ramsey is probably up
but
there.
not our lifetime.
I'm talking about our lifetime.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So in our lifetime, he's probably the most. He's arguably the second most successful England manager.
Yeah, what semi-final you got to?
No.
Quarterfinal,
and he was knocked out twice by Portugal. Damn
Portuguese.
I mean, the goalkeeper that took
Sorry
off
to our Portuguese listeners.
But the whole thing, from picking Beckham as his captain, was a circus, and that's how I feel about when I look back. The whole thing was a circus. I could name more wags than I could England players. Like, the time was ridiculous. I couldn't name one wife and girlfriend for a football player today. Not one. Right? This whole kind of like.
But that was the collect.
I'm sorry. I don't agree with you. I think it was a ridiculous thing, and I think he had the best. Keep talking about this golden generation, which is an absolute joke. If they were a golden generation, they would have done something with a golden manager, and they didn't. And so I kind of been getting ruffled this week because I think his whole romanticism is a little bit embarrassing, actually.
Can I ask you a question? Just on that, Mike. You said not the golden generation is all rubbish because they didn't win nothing, right? Mm-hmm. Are you telling me you wouldn't have Scholes in the England team now? You wouldn't have Lampard in the England team now? You wouldn't have Bex in the England team now?
I wouldn't have Bex, no. But I think you're right. I do think you're right. Okay? But then they should have won something. Why?
No, 100%. We all know that.
But what I'm trying to say is they should have won something. They didn't have the right manager for the job then. And I also think that, the whole thing was ridiculous. Like, it was almost like a boys' club. I think that there's an argument to be made that actually Sven pandered to those bigger clubs, like not taking Darren Bent. When he was like the most prolific striker in the league that year, like people threatening to go on strike if certain things weren't resolved. I think the whole thing was a mess.
And then you had club versus country.
Exactly.
Always happened, didn't it? I think there's always stories about Rio Ferdinand Frank Lampard would they'd sit on their Man United and Chelsea tables respectively, and the sort of the dynamic. And I think going on.
But that was where the hate. I mean, let's be honest. In the 90s, and the early 2000s, I mean, Man United, for instance, hated Arsenal.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't imagine them. Roy Keane is fantastic at going. Well, why are you talking to them?
Yeah.
Like, why do you want to swap shirts? Like, where now I think it's more considered football more considered a profession, and it's more like we're all in it together. We're all professional footballers. We're all in this world. But back then it was like, these are my colours and I'm wearing my colours, and that's all I care about. And I think that's quite sad, because I quite like the fact that you do it. And I do think it's still there, but where back then it was literally, I die for my team, where now it's more friendly after the games. And don't get me wrong, I still think they give it their all on the pitch. I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm trying to say, but back then you got to remember, it's completely different lifestyle. The media was completely different. The whole, as you say, I don't think it was just Sven. I don't think it was just the English boys, the England boys, that were pouring shots. I think the back room, higher up, had more about, well, actually, I want this to be our captain, or the draw of, for instance, you say Bex, he's going to get money in, isn't he? And
but you know what, Cal? I don't care.
No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I'm just trying to be diplomatic. I'm just trying to throw it in there.
I don't think you need to be diplomatic. You're the England manager. Do your job, like France did it.
Yeah.
And
but
successful.
I don't think that the infrastructure was there. I don't think the foundations, the backing from behind was all there, where I think someone like Southgate has that, where he was like, right.
Yeah. I think when you compare Sven to Southgate, I think Southgate has been more successful, not only on the pitch but off it.
Yeah, behind.
In terms of breaking down those barriers. And I think you may have had a point there, Rob.
Yeah, but who created those barriers?
Yeah.
Sven created those barriers. Sven created the circus.
Yeah.
I think it was people behind the doors that you don't see, I must admit.
So I'm not trying to speak ill of the dead, but what I mean is that
I just
think we are misremembering his tenure as England.
No, I think it's a fact. No, I agree. I disagree with a lot of what you said. I just think, there's always politics, and there's always going to be politics, and I just think sometimes you don't always see.
Yeah, and you're right for raising that side of the remembering him in the right way. I mean, we're not going to glorify him as if he's our best ever England manager, because he isn't. But he was someone who had that job with a lot of great responsibility, managing a lot of individuals rather than a team, and he'd done his best with what he could.
He had some big egos in that team.
Yeah,
massive egos.
You had about 5 or 6 captains in that team, all had different leadership qualities, and when they're all playing in the same team, how can you encourage someone who's a captain of another club to do that when?
I think the more argument is around not Sven so much. I think it's more the fact that we're gutted that team never won anything. I think that's what it more comes down to. Yeah. We would love to be the dads now that would be talking to our kids.
Yeah,
it's like when our dad talks about watching the World Cup final when we won it.
Yeah.
That could have been us in them glory days going, mate, Bex did this or Rooney did that, and we missed out on that. But listen, hopefully, we'll have them memories with our kids going forward. Touch wood, if you can sort out the next.
That's why I was so desperate for Southgate to win that Euros this summer.
Yeah.
That Ollie Watkins moment in the 90th minute against Holland, and you're thinking, we could do this, and then even the goal Cole Palmer scored in the final, and I thought, we could do it. And it's just that half hour, it just was so near to creating something very special that would have eclipsed any England manager in any era.
Well, it would have been that. Where was you, or who was you with when England won this?
Yeah.
My dad, we always say about, where were you, Dad? Like, what were you doing?
Yeah.
And other people, Heather's granddad says, I was here, it's like when Michael Jackson died, where was you? I was in the hospital where I broke a finger when Michael Jackson died. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So, following on from that.
So, how did you break your finger?
I say I broke it. I dislocated it actually. I was actually playing football. I I got it caught and popped it out and
Oh, well, did you hit it off the wall?
off the wall. What Michael Jackson song? That's that.
So you need to be locked up, mate. You need to beat it.
Hey, there he goes. He'll end up in prison. That's a smooth criminal.
Oh dear. Yeah. Right. Okay. So let's move on. So obviously today the new Champions League format come out today, and the draw was.
Does anyone understand it?
So this is the point of conversation. So Rob, who is our Kevin Hatchard of the podcast, European correspondent, you name it, he will run you through, to those who don't know, the structure of this year's Champions League.
Hold on, this will be interesting because we just discussed this and we think we've got it wrong. But Rob, you carry on, mate.
No, I'm pretty confident that I understand.
Kevin Hatched it.
No, I mean, listen, this is touch and go, obviously, but from what I understand is basically we've got 36 teams. There's one big league table from 1 to 36. They get split into 4 groups, and each team will play 8 games, 4 home, 4 away. And from that, at the end of those 8 games, you will have a league table of teams who have achieved the best and teams that have not achieved as well. The top 8 in that table will automatically qualify. The teams that are placed 9 to 24th will play a 2-legged playoff to make up the final 16. And the teams that are placed 25 and above will be eliminated from the Champions League. And then from that, the 8 playoff winning teams will play the 8 top seeded teams, and we will have our Champions League winners. I actually quite like the format because it's so randomised that everyone can literally play a variety of different teams and combinations that you wouldn't necessarily have seen before. So I'm quite excited to see Arsenal play PSG at home, but I'm also quite excited to see them play Sporting Lisbon away. And it's just these kind of like combinations. We talked about Liverpool's fixtures, we talked about Aston Villa's fixtures. Like, there's some exciting games to see. So I do like the format, and I do think that in this format you can sort of look at it and say the winner of the Champions League is like a real champion of Europe because of the way it's set up. But the kind of the questioning side of me would also say that it's a fantastic way to make even more money. Mm-hmm. So there's 2 sides to the coin, but I do think this format will be quite enjoyable, even if we don't completely understand it to begin with. And I saw a really good post on, I think it was on Threads, might have been X. It did make me chuckle, but I can't remember who it was, so I can't name them. But they basically said the whole Champions League draw is the definition of this meeting could have been an email. And it did make me chuckle because there is just so much to try and understand when actually you could have just sent us the draws and we would have been equally as happy. So
they have to have some sort of sense of drama and presentation. I did notice during the draw that this little suspense background music while Buffon's putting his hand in and picking the balls out, and I thought it's just a bit overkill, but I suppose they have to do that because of the amount of money it's generating now. So
that's right, and we're talking mega millions, aren't we? So
well, what they're talking about an extra something like 20 million. I think whoever got it was 80 million on average or something, and then they're talking about each club getting 100 million just by being in the Champions League because of
crazy money, isn't it?
You know, it's
still less than the 4 billion a year from the ESL proposal, wasn't it?
Is it?
JP Morgan, JP Morgan were funding the European Super League.
Yeah. Well, I was just about to bring up the Super League. I think they've been very, very clever. They've
tried to create.
They've created something where now it almost eradicates the opportunity for that then now to be highlighted again or even brought up again, because
I think it will still come out.
Oh no, it's going to definitely come. Yeah. Listen, when there's money there, it's always going to be spoken about. It's something that we're probably in the next 10, 15 years. Probably, if it never ever does happen, rest of our lives we'll be talking about. Oh, I wonder if the Super League would, what would it have been like? But I think they've been very clever in the sense of setting this up where it almost puts a stop, or people go, well, we don't need it now. Like, do we need it? Because big clubs are playing big clubs every single year. I mean, I think there was an argument about, certain clubs having easier draws or easier run-ups to get to the final, where, it's proof in the pudding at the moment, where, Real Madrid are playing, Liverpool, and, we're playing, Arsenal playing Inter, and, there's big games everywhere, and that's even before you get to the knockout stages, so as a fan, I'd love to go to some, away, you're going into Milan, but there's big games before you even get to the knockout stages. Yeah. I mean, it is pretty exciting. I must admit, when the first one that gets pulled out is Real Madrid, Liverpool, or whatever. You sort of think, here we go.
The other thing is right, the top 8 teams automatically qualify, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
24 points available. How many is enough?
Yeah, we don't even know. This is it. Yeah, it's true.
That's an
interesting thing, isn't it?
You've got to be pretty bad to be in the bottom 8, haven't you?
Yeah,
you've got to be pretty bad, and I quite like that. I mean,
like if you are cut out at the bottom 8, then you
imagine being cut out by 1 point or 1 goal.
Your best football, isn't it?
I'm well excited. Just looking. Not just looking at the fixtures. I'm a lover of football. And we all we all go down to the Three Pigeons because that's our local. But it's not just go down now to watch Arsenal play. I'm not being funny, but I want to go down and watch Aston Villa play. Or I want to go down and watch Liverpool play. In these big games. Not the fact that because I want to be fair. I want English clubs to do well, British clubs to do well, but they're big games. They're
worth watching.
They're going to be worth watching. It's not just like, Real Madrid are playing this team, they're just going to walk over them until they get to the knockout stages. I think it was getting to that stage where it's like, well, Real Madrid will top it. Man United, when they were in it, about 20 years ago. I'll tell you about it's harsh, but they would top their group. Arsenal would finish second or maybe first. See how they feel when you get knocked out. But we also knew what was happening. Now it's like, phew.
Yeah, I think it just about takes away some of the predictability.
Yeah.
Just about, because 8 games is it's obviously more than 6, but I think because of the way it's randomised, in a way that you're not playing a team home and away, you're playing Paris Saint-Germain at home, but then you're playing Inter Milan away. Like that's a different kind of preparation.
It's almost like Six Nations, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you're not having home and away games. You either play France at home one year, or you play Ireland away. There's no return leg, is there, for that? No.
But also the money it brings in for not like local, cities or them countries. It's not like Real Madrid. They go and play somewhere and they come back to them. They're playing. I know they're still playing 4 different places, but it's not like they're set. The set play, well, they are now, but beforehand they weren't set places where they could almost prepare. It's going to bring money into them areas that might not necessarily got the big club going there. I think it just opens up so many more, opportunities and stuff. I think it's going to be exciting, like I say, there's big games right from the start, and I think that's what's most exciting.
Yeah, I mean, being a West Ham fan and talking about Champions League football is always never going to be in my conversation anytime soon.
I think Europe's going to be in it this year. I just got a feeling that West Ham's going to be in that top.
Yeah, I think when you've been in Europe the past 3 years and you've had back-to-back quarterfinals and won a trophy in between that, I think you get the taste for it. So hopefully, let's see what happens if the England coefficients do well and in the Champions League spot goes down to 5th. Maybe there's more opportunity for clubs like West Ham to be in it. But at the minute, this year, I was very, very pleased to find that Slovan Bratislava qualified for the first time ever in any Champions League format in their entire history. I've got a little bit of a love for Slovan Bratislava purely because many years ago we went to Bratislava to celebrate the wedding of my cousin in Australia and his fiancée, who is half Slovakian, half Australian. So we met all our Australian family out there. And
How did you do in the heat there, by the way?
well, in Bratislava.
Oh, is that where you went? Oh,
Yeah, no, not in
disappointed
Australia.
now.
Mate. No, so in Bratislava, obviously everyone's meeting up, and I had a few hours to kill, so I went and done a bit of sightseeing on my own. So I'm a bit of a stadium architecture nut. So I went and explored Slovan Bratislava's old historic stadium, and I trespassed and almost got arrested for trespassing.
Did you have to pay to get unarrested?
No, the funny thing is, I can tell this story in more detail at a later date, but the policeman was friends with an ex-West Ham footballer who was Slovakian, and by chance my phone rang. It was Kerry, and I'm for Blowing Bubbles was played, and the policeman recognised the ringtone and let me go because of that.
You are winding me up.
No, I'm being
That is
I mean,
absolutely fantastic.
I'll say it in more detail at a later date, but because of that, I've visited the stadiums and I've got that kind of. I've always looked out for them ever since. So Slovan Bratislava, any Slovakians out there, and Slovakian football, definitely give it a recommendation. It's very good standard, very very good standard, and it doesn't get a lot of credit. It should do. But yeah, I'll be a Slovan Bratislava fan this year in Champions League, so that'll be my team. But looking at the English clubs in the competition, Slovan Bratislava do play Manchester City, so that could be an interesting game. But
I love that.
Yeah, and I think that is in Bratislava as well. Beautiful city if anyone wants to go there.
It's a nice city. I've been to Bratislava.
Dad's been there as well, hasn't he?
No, I have. It's lovely there.
Yeah. So Manchester City have got Inter Milan, Paris Saint-Germain, Club Brugge, Juventus, Feyenoord, Sporting Lisbon, Sparta Prague and Slovan Bratislava. Liverpool have got Real Madrid, Red Bull Leipzig, Bayer Leverkusen, Milan, that's AC Milan, Lille, PSV Eindhoven, Bologna and Girona.
That's a tough old group. That's a killer group.
That is a tough game, isn't it?
Arsenal have got Paris Saint-Germain, Inter Milan, Shakhtar Donetsk, Atalanta, not Atlanta, that's in America, Dinamo Zagreb, Sporting Lisbon, Monaco and Girona. And the last, I think we'll do the Scottish team as well because we want to focus on the British people here. So Celtic will play Red Bull Leipzig, Borussia Dortmund, Club Brugge, Atalanta, Young Boys. I mean, it's a bit unfair, isn't it? Dinamo Zagreb, Slovan Bratislava, and Aston Villa. So Celtic Aston Villa is a fixture definitely worth looking out for.
Yeah, that'd be good to watch.
I think that'd be a good game. That will be Scotland versus England. That the fans will love that.
Yeah. And Aston Villa will get Bayern Munich, and I believe that I think those two clubs met previously historically in Champions League.
They beat them, didn't they? Didn't Aston Villa beat them or something when they won it?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure they beat them in the final.
Yeah, I think that's right. 81, I think. Yeah. Red Bull Leipzig, Juventus, so the return of Douglas Luiz.
Oh, yeah.
That's a tough old game, that one.
Yeah,
is that away?
That will be home.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Douglas Luiz going back to Villa.
Juventus,
Going back to Villa in the Juventus shirt.
Juventus away. Oh, that's hostile.
That's at home.
No, I'm saying if it was. Sorry, I was saying if it was.
Yeah. And Aston Villa have also got Club Brugge, Celtic, Young Boys, again another unfair advantage, Bologna and Monaco. So they've got a I think they've got a good chance there in making the playoffs. And
I think they've got a better chance than some of the other.
Well, like I said, I mean Emery is a master at European football, so I'll be surprised if they didn't at least get to the playoffs.
Yeah, I reckon they will.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the European Champions League.
So now you've seen that, who? I know we've made our predictions, but you got any thoughts who might win it from that?
I still think Real Madrid.
I still think Man City will be favourites. I think that's what I predicted in.
Mate, I'm backing my lads. I still think
Arsenal
Arsenal
going to win it.
Arsenal
It would be cool if Arsenal won the first one in the new format, having not been able to win it in the previous.
Yeah, and absolutely getting ripped for it for the whole of our existence.
And just to nip this in the bud, Arsenal still have one less European trophy than West Ham.
Do you know what though? We have more Rices than West Ham.
It's true.
Yeah, you can't put that in a trophy cabinet, can you?
No. Can put it in the boiler.
Not so
Might
much.
put it on the honours boards very soon, though. Very, very soon. Might go on the honours board.
Okay, so in terms of the other European draws, we don't know what the Europa League draw is, nor the Conference League draw. So we can only comment at this time on the Champions League. But I'm sure in future episodes we will talk about the Europa League to match our predictions. So from one cup competition to another, the Carabao Cup, the draw happened last night. And the reason I'm raising this is because there's a lot of controversy as to how this draw happened. So basically the 6 teams that are in Champions League and Europa League. So for those that don't know, Champions League and Europa League are played on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. So whereas Europa League used to be played on Thursdays, so Europa League and Champions League are played on tandem, the same nights but different alternating weeks. So because of this, the Carabao Cup is also played on Tuesday and Wednesdays. So the 6 European clubs were given a seeded position in the draw over any other team. Interesting to note that Chelsea, that play in the Conference League, were not a seeded team because Conference League is played on Thursday, so it doesn't clash with the Carabao Cup fixtures. So the draw happened. So the first European club that comes out, Liverpool. Who do they get? West Ham. Cheers, guys. Thanks for that. Every time we get Liverpool in the cup, we tend to go out. So our cup run is dead straight away before we kick the ball.
I can see why you want to bring this up.
Yeah. So I think in terms of, I just think it's just an unfair.
To be fair, I think Arsenal have a bit of a
for
history with Liverpool in cup competitions and being knocked out. So I can relate to you.
So that's my grievance with the Carabao Cup is that
So what you're trying to say is that
the European clubs have been given an unfair seeded advantage in this competition to avoid a fixture clash with the European competition.
And how far would you go with that, Adam? Are you trying to say they shouldn't even be in the cup competition, or?
Yeah, so I put the poll out earlier as to do you think European teams, or do you think English clubs that participate in European competition should be excluded from the Carabao Cup? And I personally think yes, because hear me out, because these teams are playing in a high level competition, and if they played in the League Cup, despite it being a trophy that's worth winning, the reward for that is significantly less than what they're aiming for. So if you get someone like Man City winning the League Cup, they've won the spot for the Conference League playoff round. And that reward could be so much more significant to a smaller club or a less successful club than someone like a Goliath that's constantly aiming for Champions League every season. And even if they didn't qualify in the top 6 and they won that competition, they don't want to play in that competition. They turn their nose up at it because of the hierarchy of it. So that's my point in it, is that those sort of teams don't particularly respect that reward in that competition. If that's the case, then just give that to the team that lost next, but they don't. And I don't agree with that sentiment to it, because I think it's an opportunity for a smaller club to progress in a European format.
Do you know what? I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think you make a very good point. However, I've got 2 points, because I know Rob wants to say something on this, but I'm going to say it comes down to money, unfortunately. It's always going to come down to money in the sense of television rights. And that's what people are going to argue, or clubs are going to argue, going, well, if you take us out of this because we are a top flight club, then we're losing out on that money. I know that, and I know other people are going to sit out there and go, yeah, but you're earning 80 odd million, 100 million now being in the Champions League or whatever cups it's going to be. But for us fans, we want to be in the chance of winning trophies. But for the people higher up, it's going to be about money and then, television rights and that sort of stuff. And the second one is that you mentioned about teams not taking it seriously. for them teams that you say do not take it seriously, yeah, it then breaks up the opportunities within that club for younger players to get a run out. So, for instance, historically, Arsenal have never taken it seriously. Yeah, even though it's a trophy that we have not won, in our lifetime, it might be in Rob's lifetime. Yeah, but players such as, historically, Fabregas, Smith Rowe, Xhaka, all these young guns that we talk about, they wouldn't get what I call proper, competitive football in them cups if it wasn't that we were in them cups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't disagree with what you're saying, and and you make a fantastic point about just winning something, giving people an opportunity to win. Even though I'd love Arsenal, I'd be happy for Arsenal to win it. To be honest with you, to win anything, but I know. As an Arsenal fan, it has given our young guns such a fantastic platform to then have a little bit of a taste of proper competitive football to then push on.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would be more concerned with, where I know money-wise other people would be more concerned about. But I think for me, it would be about giving our lesser players or our upcoming players a platform to play and be tested, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, so firstly, I just want to acknowledge that we are one of the only leagues in Europe that have an extra cup competition. So we obviously have the FA Cup, and then we have what we might deem the lesser cup in the Carabao Cup. So I do think it's important to acknowledge that. But I don't agree with you that the bigger teams don't take it seriously. I think there's a case to be made that many teams in the Premier League don't take the Carabao Cup seriously. But then to also flip the argument, I would say that to Man City. Do they not take the Carabao Cup seriously?
Or Chelsea? Mourinho?
I think they do take it seriously. I think all of those teams take it seriously. So that's kind of like the leading argument of why I don't agree with you. But I also agree with Callum. I think it's good for sort of squad rotation and opportunity. Other players getting a run out, getting an opportunity in the league. But I also think there's a chance that it takes away those big away days and those big cup upsets that we like seeing. I think, didn't Arsenal lose to, who had the really good, I don't know. Well, Arsenal's been knocked out by everyone because they don't play very well in the Carabao Cup historically. Yeah, but I'd still put West Ham as a Premier League team. I'm talking about, sort of lower division teams. But I think I am not for having the teams that qualify for Europe to be removed. And I think, if I'm being...
Well, you set a class thing then, didn't you? It's like, well, actually, we're not good enough to be not in the cup. And then you've got people going, well, we're a Premier League team. Why are we having that extra game to have to be played? And yes, I know it gives you an opportunity to play, but then it's almost like it's that divide, isn't it? And I think in the Premier League, and we all know there is a slight divide in the Premier League, but Man City can still go to Ipswich or Nottingham Forest and lose. I mean, hopefully this year they will, but it's more competitive in the Premiership. And I think if you start doing that, then you are setting a divide.
But I also think I'm going to be a little bit more cynical. I think if we're going to start drawing our line in the sand here, then why are Premier League teams entering the FA Cup in the third round? That shouldn't be happening either.
Yeah, where's yeah, okay, fair, good point. Where's it end? Should they go in right from non-league football all the way up?
Yeah. I just think I think it's easy to choose a point of argument when certain arguments will suit certain people, in the same way that I'm making this argument because it suits me, right?
Yeah.
In the same way that you might be making an argument because it suits West Ham's ambitions or hopes. But I think the whole structure is questionable anyway, because the whole structure is geared towards where can we make the most money and where can money be distributed in a way that everyone's happy. And the answer is that no one is ever happy because everyone wants more. But I just think that people moaning about this system because, oh no, the big six, no, they're in Europe, let's get them out. I'm sorry, but Man City probably take that competition more seriously than most teams in the whole football league.
But they've got the squad then to be able to do that.
Do you know what? They do have the squad, but we can argue about that. But the reality is they have the squad. They have that squad, and they can do what they want with that squad until told otherwise. But we've also seen arguments where teams in the Championship haven't taken it seriously because it's a dead rubber. Like, I just think that people will make an argument that suits their needs at the time, and at the time, it suits people not to have the Big Six, not in the competition. Whereas
it's not the Big Six though. It's just Europe.
Or whoever's in Europe, then fine. But I also think that you could say that about the FA Cup if you wanted to. If you wanted to be really picky or whatever.
I think it'd be interesting to find out what clubs would think about this. I know that we probably never find out on this particular pod, unfortunately. But you talk about the FA Cup there, but for these clubs that I know, for instance, someone like say Bournemouth, who got to Everton in the whatever round it was, fourth round, whatever it was, fifth round, whatever it was a few years ago. For a club like that to get to that level to play Everton, as well as paying the clubs before that who they paid to get to Everton.
There's that financial.
They had big. That money could pay their for the next 3 or 4, maybe 2 or 3 years at least. Or get them to build or get them to put an infrastructure in the club. I mean, for them, I love the FA Cup, especially. I know that we, a lot of the time we know it's going to be a Premier League club that goes and win it, but actually. Then them early rounds I find so exciting because you do get I always follow the underdog. For instance, Bournemouth, that particular year was absolutely fantastic. But absolutely, it was exciting. And we all got I think everyone got dragged into it. Even the media got dragged into it. Wanted to interviewing everyone behind closed doors and what happens behind the club, and that's fantastic. And that's what we love football about. That's what football's all about. And I think then smaller clubs. It is a lifeline. It is everything to them, and I think, I predicted that this year an underdog will win the Carabao Cup, and I still stick by that, even though both my teams have been knocked out. But I still stick that underdog will win it this year.
So not only did Leeds United get trounced by Middlesbrough in your first prediction, you followed up your co-prediction with Middlesbrough winning the EFL Cup, who then later lost 5-1 to Stoke.
Now I think Stoke's going to win. Listen, whoever wins the next game, that journey is that's the team that's going to win it. Yeah.
I was hoping to get Stoke next round. I'm not going to lie, based on that. But I've got 2 counter arguments with the valid points that you made on that. In terms of giving youth a chance, the EFL Trophy years ago, well, you could probably say, it's a good platform to bring those players through. But of recent times, we've seen the EFL Trophy expand to include under 21 Premier League clubs, which is now into almost like old Champions League format with localised teams. For instance, just off the top of my head, only because I know, because as a West Ham fan, West Ham under 21s won the Youth FA Cup. Beating Arsenal, and then
thanks for throwing it in there.
Sorry, I didn't do that on purpose. I promise. But the following year, that same squad was kept together, and they progressed in that EFL Trophy, playing senior level football, despite it being the teams of Cheltenham. I'm trying to think of someone else. I think it was Colchester was another one, because I went to that game, and our under-21 squad, because they were together playing that level of football, they were beating these teams, and they were like, I had an 18-year-old rinsing a 31-year-old Colchester striker, and it's just not, it's just unheard of, really. And when you've got 11 of them on the pitch rinsing another 11 like that, you can tell that the development process in that competition is working, not just for West Ham, but Man City, Chelsea, and I think Brighton got to the semi-finals of that competition with their under-21s, and that's some achievement for giving youth players a chance. So in terms of that, but also to counteract that, for the European clubs that are in that I'm asking to be excluded from this competition, there's additional games in Champions League now playing pot 4 sides that are a very low significant coefficient rating than what those teams are. There's an opportunity there to play your youth players in that, to give them a better experience on the grander stage of football. So there's that argument. So you've got extra fixtures there to blood your youth, like Oscar Bob at Man City. His games were against teams in Serbia, scoring twice. And that was his experience, which has made him the player he is today. He's going to benefit more from that experience than he would do playing Barrow in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, but can you do it on a cold night in Stoke? Is what I want to know.
But the thing is, Adam, you made a
well,
point.
Middlesbrough can't. We know that for a fact.
Adam, you made a point last week, right, about Man United having better seasons than Arsenal more recently because they've won 2 cups or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. By you not potentially not including us, yeah, and I don't think we will go and win, the EFL Cup, but historically people will look back and go, well, Man United won these trophies or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Arsenal didn't win anything, we come second, but by
that's,
taking us out, you've lessened our. Because I'm not going to lie to you, if we won that cup, I want to win everything. Yeah, the same as what Man United, Man City will say. They want to win everything, and that's why they take everything seriously. I know they got the squad, so on and so forth. Right, we've already discussed it. But for me, yeah, when you look back in history, you're going to look at trophies. You're not going to look at who comes second. Yeah, even though we are the best team, second best team in the country at the moment. Yeah, but Man United still won 2 trophies.
Yeah.
So for me, I 100% agree with what you're saying, but I still want to win that cup if we can. At the end of the season, if we don't win nothing else, but we win that trophy, we still won a trophy.
But if you played your youngsters in the Carabao Cup and then you had to play because you had to play the Champions League game the following week, are you taking that seriously because you're resting your squad to play in a better competition?
But you said we could do that about Premier League games.
Yeah, exactly right.
If we're playing a certain team and then we've got Champions League, we're going to rest.
And this leads me on to the argument that the bigger clubs are asking for less fixtures because their players have been burnt out. And now you've entered a competition that has added more fixtures. I think it's 17 games to win the Champions League.
Yeah, it's a lot. When you put it like it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's half a season. That's half a season. You've got another half a season.
But they're not moaning about that now because they're getting the money for it. But then also, at the end of the season, you had post-season tours. So I think you had Spurs playing Newcastle in Australia.
3 or 4 days after.
3 or 4 days after the Premier League. But then they're moaning because their players are burnt out. And then they've got a European competition for their countries. So I'm trying to do them a favour here. I'm trying to remove the competition.
Adam, you make a fantastic point. I don't disagree with your point, but it comes down to for me. It's always going to come down to money. People are going to go, well, if you take me out of this cup, business wise, they're going to go, if you take me out of this cup, we're missing out on that potential money because it's all been aired. All this week it's all been aired on Sky. You can watch all 80, all 80 whatever games it was. On the red button. Yeah, and that's what they're going to look at. That's how they're going to. But for me, it's still going to be something that we can win.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie to you. If we went and won
from
that,
a fan perspective,
from a fan, I want to win it. I'm not being funny. We haven't won nothing since. We haven't won the league for whatever it is, 20 odd years now. Is it that long? I can't think what it is. We won the FA Cup so many years ago. I want to win something, and I think that isn't. I don't think we will win it. And I agree with what you said. We probably won't take it serious, but it's still an opportunity. If all else fails, that is still an avenue. I agree with you. There's way too many games. It's ridiculous amount of games, and it's ridiculous the tours and. But again, it's money. It's scary.
And
it is scary.
To contradict my argument in terms of fielding your strongest or fielding a weakened side in the competition. West Ham purposely fielded a weakened side against Liverpool last season because West Ham had an important Premier League game the following week. That was a David Moyes decision, and that did not go down well. That did not go down.
No,
well at all.
I remember loads of West Ham fans
At all.
moaning because loads of West Ham saying it was a potential competition that they could go and win.
Yeah, you beat Liverpool in a one-off game. You've got a semi-final against. I think we could have had a semi-final against something like Southampton. You know,
I think it was.
It could
I
have
think
been.
it was a team that you potentially could have won.
Middlesbrough, I think it might have been. It might have been Middlesbrough.
It won't be them this year.
No, it won't be them this year. But to put it into context, in terms of if the European clubs didn't exist in the competition over the past 10 years, this is what your winners of the League Cup would have been, who would have qualified for the Conference League to progress further. So last year it was Chelsea. Was one, they didn't play European football. Now they've won that. They lost to Liverpool, but they would have been the winners.
So you're saying it could be Newcastle this year?
So, yeah. So the season before that in 2023 was Newcastle. So I'm going to go back here.
Yeah.
The season before that could have been Brentford or Sunderland. I mean, how good would that been for the fans?
Oh, mate, I can't.
To win a trophy like that, it would have been so. Like you say, the trophy hall is so. How can I put it? It's so condensed with like you've got your typical Man Cities, your Chelseas, your Arsenals, your Man United's all grabbing it for themselves, and there's a lack of opportunity for other teams to do that.
Be better.
But the thing is, you say that, Adam.
Be better.
You say that. How long has it been since Arsenal won a trophy? 5 years.
How can teams be better if Man City have got £300 million sitting on the bench?
Yeah, no, but
you're talking about another argument.
That's my point. That's my point. Other notable winners of the League Cup, if European teams would have been there again, Brentford again, they would have won it back to back. Aston Villa, Burton Albion, Bristol City, Hull City, Everton, Sheffield United, Sunderland. They would have been your League Cup winners if there was no European clubs in that competition.
Thing is, when you say it like that, it is actually quite sad.
Yeah.
No, and you make it, like I say, it almost makes your point because for that fan base, it would have been epic.
Everton have not won a trophy since '94 FA Cup. That's a massive club. Everton, massive club.
Yeah, but there isn't enough cups for everyone to win anyway, Adam. Like, I'm not being funny. Like, there's Newcastle. When was the last time Newcastle? I don't think they've ever won anything.
Fairs Cup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
50s.
But they're a massive club. Like,
yeah, absolutely. No,
it is sad. I agree with you when you think of it like that. But then, as Rob just said. Like, I'm sorry, it's in the win business.
I am sorry.
Like, if Arsenal won the last 4 Premier Leagues, ask me if I'd feel sorry for anyone else. I would be love it. Quick, like, let's be honest. Same as I loved the fact, and I have got a soft spot for West Ham. Yeah, I would say they're my second team. Yeah, because of living there so long and being around so many West Ham fans, right? But when you won your trophy. Yeah, it is. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. The buzz, and obviously I still worked in East London then. The buzz around the place, like everyone was like the excitement. I mean, and it was like my mates now. I know for them boys, yeah, I mean, most of them got the bloody trophy tattooed on the back of their legs. Like, they were lucky enough to go there and watch it. Like, they're diehard season ticket holders, and I know that they will talk about that, and I know I've got to listen to it for the rest of my life. But do you know what? I love the fact because I know how much it means to them and how much they love that club. And West Ham have got a fantastic support network. But if it was Arsenal doing it, I'm sorry, I want Arsenal to win everything. And I want to be in the trophy. I want to be in the opportunity to win everything.
You know what? I'm really sorry, but I feel like I'm the only one who's talking common sense today. All right. the last 10 minutes.
Callum's admitted his love for West Ham.
No, I honestly feel like I'm the only one talking common sense. The equivalent, particularly with you, Adam, the equivalence right now is. Do you know what? It's okay. Everyone's going to get a rosette on Sports Day.
Don't start all that, Rob.
Everyone's going to get a rosette because you all tried. Because you all tried. Do you know what? I don't care. Best team wins. Best team wins.
That's true.
That's it. I don't care about you shoulda, woulda, couldas. I don't agree with any of you. I think that the reality is,
it's fun.
If you don't like it, tough. All right. If you want to win it, be the best team. And I don't like this whole Arsenal shouldn't be in it because of this or whatever. As far as the teams in the top 6 or the Champions League, I think Arsenal have been the best behaved over the last 20 years, actually.
Yeah, it's no discredit to you.
So I just think, like, and I'm not talking specifically about Arsenal now, but what I mean is that the team that wins the Premier League, regardless of how they did it, right, the players on the pitch win the Premier League because they were the best team. The team that wins the FA Cup win it because they are the best team by hook, by crook. And I say that because in the Premier League, over 38 games, if you win it, you are the best team, right? No matter how good Arsenal were last season, right? Man City was still the best team. In cup games, wait. In cup games,
okay.
In cup games,
yeah.
Or in cups, tournaments, by hook, by crook, you can get there. Man United winning 2 cups in 2 years, right? Unbelievable, really.
Yeah, it sugarcoats the problem.
But they did it. All right. So I'm sorry. I just think, like, I'm not in for this kind of like, oh well, everyone deserves a chance. No, I'm sorry. You have a chance. Take your chance. Like, I kind of feel like we're in danger of being a little bit like, like, hey man, everyone gets a go. And I'm just.
But the trouble is, there's levels to that though.
I'll put my daisies away now.
No. but
I've got a violin for you.
The thing is, there's levels to that though, isn't it? Because then you can go the other extreme of going, well, let everyone spend whatever they want and buy whatever they want and do whatever they want, but it's you want to win it by being fair, and I think that's the thing. Is no one disputes that the best team wins it, yeah, and this is it. We want the best team to win it, and like I say, I want Arsenal to win everything, right? But you want to make sure it is fair, and I think what Adam is trying to say is that he wants other teams to have the opportunity. Like I said, I want Arsenal to win everything, and I want Arsenal to be in the cup, right? But we want to make sure it's fair. And I know you're saying the best team wins it, but sometimes it's not always the best team that wins it because of, let's be honest, we'll see in the future what happens. But I suppose that's a debate for another day. But I want it to make sure it's fair first for every team.
Okay. So talking about Premier League clubs absolutely annihilating Carabao Cup competition, we'll go on to the Premier League review. So how was the Premier League for you this weekend? Was it decent enough for you? Was it entertaining? Was it Varvalvum?
There were some big results this weekend, weren't there?
Big results.
There were some great results, and there were some surprises in there as well. So I suppose it goes without saying.
Like West Ham winning, that was a surprise.
Well, I actually think that's a good result.
No, West Ham will do well this year.
No, we done well. I was a bit annoyed at the fact that our first starting lineup didn't change that much from a Moyes-esque sort of lineup, but got to give credit to the manager. He made his changes on the hour mark, and they were the difference. They were the reason why we won the game.
That Wan-Bissaka run.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka, mate. What did they do?
Can I just say what a fantastic buy?
15 million quid.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is a steal.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's a proper player. Yeah. And I spoke to Rob about this, to be fair. When I heard that the transfer had been made, I was thinking that is a big buy. Well, yeah. I'm surprised Man United let him go. But then saying that, the bloke that Man United's got in, he also had a good debut as well. But I think you've got a steal there, mate. 15 million.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolute steal.
Jared Bowen scoring the winner after Souček got the initial opener.
I don't want to scare you, but do you think you're going to keep hold of him long term? I know you've made him captain.
Bowen?
Yeah. I know that Daddy Dyer's his father-in-law, and he's probably branded him with the West Ham badge somewhere. But do you think you're going to be able to keep hold of him long term? If he has a good season this year.
Again, every player's got a price, and if he's on a 7-year contract, he's West Ham captain. If people want to buy him, they can buy him, but it's going to cost them a lot of money.
Yeah, he's going to cost them a lot of money, yeah.
Especially
if he has a good year this year.
I can't see us getting... He's 27 now. I think he'll be 28 next year. Again, I can't personally see it happening unless a massive, absolutely huge bid comes in for him. And I'm talking about 80 million north.
Do you think he's worth that much?
I think that's how much it's going to take for him to go.
You know what it is? I think that's what he's worth to West Ham.
Yeah, exactly.
Say for argument's sake,
as Rice was worth to us for what you
exactly.
paid for him.
And he's worth more. Like we've got an absolute steal there. But
no, absolutely. I think it depends on how you quantify it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
like, if Arsenal came in for him, I'd be like, 60 million is probably enough, right? But it's because it's how much you value him. Like in the same way, we've had the same experience today, Cal. Southampton are signing probably, unless something massively goes wrong, Ramsdale for 18 plus 7 in add-ons. 25 million.
It hurts.
And it hurts because I'm sentimental about Ramsdale. But
Yeah,
at
I
the
love
same
him.
time, for me, that feels like a steal, right? Because I value him more than that because of the journey that he helped take Arsenal through. But at the same time, I'm also adult enough to recognise that I think Raya is a better goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And fits into our system more. But it's one of those
And
things.
he's proven that. He has proven that. Golden Glove last
Well, we'll
year
get to that.
and
We'll
two
get to- we'll get
fantastic games.
Yeah. We'll get to Raya's performance in a minute, but I think it depends on how the team values him. And Jared Bowen, at the moment, is everything West Ham.
Yeah.
He is the centre of West Ham, he's the captain of West Ham, he's the talisman. And so they have a right, if he's got the right contract, to say...
He's the poster boy.
Yeah.
He's the poster boy. He come in from the Championship. He's a West Ham darling by marrying one of West Ham's biggest celebrity fans, Danny Dyer's daughter. He's captain. He's lifted the European trophy for us. He's plastered everywhere. And for me personally, I don't think he's the best captain at the club, but I think he's the best person for that role. If you understand what I mean, I think we've got so many leaders within the squad. They don't need the armband to show that. But I think if you put an armband on someone to put them on a pedestal, I think he's that guy. And I think Lopetegui knows that.
He's the face, you mean? He's the face, and that's why he's there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same reason why Harry Kane was captain at Spurs, and the same reason why Harry Kane was captain for England in the same way, because he's the poster boy for Southgate's England squad. So
in the same way that Beckham was Sven's poster boy.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is another debate, right? But please don't start on David Beckham, because Dave is I will have a massive debate about Becks, because he's done a hell of a lot for this country.
Yeah.
You can roll your eyes, Rob. Mate, I'm sorry. In them days,
we'll save a special episode.
That is because I love Bex, mate.
Yeah. When Beckham comes out.
When Bex comes on our podcast,
that's it. Mate,
absolute legend.
Bex, don't leave us.
Knighthood for Bex. I'm throwing it out there, please. Right, William, when you're up there, mate, please. Man United. I put it on Threads, and I said, "Is it crisis? Is it crisis at Man United? Is it panic buying at Man United? Are you worried, Man United fans? You were not convincing in your first game, and you've lost. To be fair, Brighton have been outstanding in their 2 games, and they spent a lot of money, Brighton, as well, in the transfer window. They look very, very, very strong. But should Man United fans be worried? Like I say, I put it on Threads. I personally think they should be, from my predictions and what I've seen so far. What do you think, lads?
It kind of looks a bit like new season, same old story for United currently. I do think I agree with you. I think they were lucky to get the win against Fulham. That last sort of grab goal at the end. Brighton have started the season strong, and they have started the season looking like the way they did when they were at their best under Potter, and the way they were when they were at their best under De Zerbi. But they've started the season that way, and Brighton seem to have this knack of just being good and sort of consistent, I think, and they are joint top. And I think Arsenal are going to have troubles this weekend. Arsenal could struggle this weekend, because I don't think Arsenal started particularly great, if I'm being completely honest. But
Arsenal at home, though.
Yeah, but I don't think Arsenal started strong this season. But United were shown up. They were massively shown up by Brighton, and I think they're going to show up a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
They look very well organised.
But I will say also, I do think Man United are creating chances. I'm not a big fan of the false nine Bruno.
Yeah. I was a bit surprised by that decision.
And it's twice in a row now. It's 2 games in the bounce. False nine Bruno. I'm not a fan. Bruno, and actually, if I remember rightly, in the first game of the season, Zerkzee, is that his name?
Joshua Zirkzee.
Zirkzee went up front. Bruno dropped back into a 10. Man United win the game. And I think that when they play Bruno in his best position, Man United look okay.
Yeah, because they've got better structure, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the false nine thing.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. So some other notable results in that was Man City beating Ipswich 4-1 after being poked. Ipswich poked the Bear, and the Bear bit back, and Man City scored 3 goals in the space of 10 minutes to kind of see off the game on that one. What was your thoughts on the Man City game?
Haaland masterclass, pretty much.
Yeah.
Man City were good, obviously. I do think there's defensive frailties in Man City this season. I don't think they started the season strong defensively, but going forward it doesn't matter because they can score more than you.
Yeah.
I think would be fair to say, and I think Haaland showed again why he is going to be, if he sticks around for any amount of time, the most prolific striker we've ever seen in the Premier League.
Yeah. And was you triple captain?
No, I wasn't. I'm gutted.
FPL?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I had him as captain, so I am happy.
Yeah.
But my FPL team is fantastic due to that. But I don't think he will stick around. I think he will go this year. I think at the end of this summer he will go.
Yeah.
But I mean, Man City do what Man City do, isn't it? And I think unfortunately we're going to have to not hope, because that sounds awful. I don't want to hope someone injured, but I think Haaland is going to have to be injured to give anyone else an opportunity to go and win the Premier League. If that's Arsenal, if that's Liverpool, but yeah, I think he's going to have to get injured. But yeah, they, as Rob said, they poked the bear and the bear bit and score 3 goals.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, Man City look strong. You know, there are things going on there defensively, but yeah, as you say, it's like the old Real Madrid saying, "We'll score 1 more than you to win the game." But yeah, can I bring up the Arsenal game?
Yeah, I was going to run through the results. Like, if you want to talk.
Is that right? Yeah. Just quickly,
because
because obviously big game. Really, that was the biggest game. Last weekend. Let's be honest, Aston Villa, Arsenal. You know, potentially top 4 finishers, top 6 finishers.
And I think there's a lot of it was a opportunity for revenge, wasn't it, for Arsenal?
Oh God, did we need it?
Especially for last.
Yeah,
last season.
obviously that they beat us twice last year. I think for me, we were, I don't want to say arguably lucky, but I think it could have been a different result if Watkins could have finished early on. But you know, at the end of the day, we've got to win games like that to be up there to potentially win it. And you know, we did look frail at the back, and there were certain little instances. However, I think we showed true strength and potentially true championship winners by going on and win that game. Because I think years ago, you know, we would have melted and gone, "Oh God, we're under pressure. We're going to lose this," and we would have crumbled, and they would have gone on and won that. Where actually we dug deep and we got the result, especially, you know, being away as well. I think we showed a true character. Raya, you know, we speak about Ramsdale. I am gutted that he has gone, but the last 2 games he's made some big saves.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll say again, I'll throw it out there again, championship winning saves. So early in the season as well, that keep us up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you about the Raya save. You were a goalkeeper, right?
Yeah.
And there were 2 massive points in the game aside from the goal for me, right? Aside from the goals for me. and one of them was that rare save alongside the Saliba clearance, right at the end there, where he celebrated it like he won the game.
Yeah, like he won the Champions League. Yeah.
Right, but Cal, you were a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He was on his backside when that ball hit the bar, and and Watkins was getting ready to
head it in.
Yeah. Talk us through what it would have been like to try and like even get close to that.
Right, so I must admit, right, it is a fantastic save. I do not want to take that away. It is an absolute incredible save, and don't get me wrong, I would be probably taking my shirt off and women in the shirt if I made the save, you know. However, that is what, as a goalkeeper, you are trained. Like, you are trained to get your ass off the floor as quick as you possibly can in that change of weight. And I think that is massive credit to Raya, because it just shows how hard he has been working. Because I can guarantee he would do some sort of session each day around that getting up, moving to the next one, or, you know, making a save, moving across. And for me, I just, as an ex-goalkeeper, it just brings me massive delight, because I know the work that he would have done. Because, like I say, I was lucky enough to train every single day, you know, when I played, and I know that I did some sort of change of weight exercise, you know, moving from one side to the next side, or however you want to put it. You know, to be fair, he was tracking back, so it's even harder, because he's, as Rob said, he's coming off his backside, so it's not even like he's on his side and he's got the momentum of his leg to be able to pull him back up. Yeah, he's getting up from, you know, arguably a wrong position. You know, you never want to be going backwards as a goalkeeper, and he was caught going backwards or having to go backwards due to, you know, the shot that came in. So then get up. Oh mate, it's exceptional. I don't want to underplay it. It is an exceptional shave, and he should get all the credit. But the credit should be in the training that he's done to be able to make that save, because I guarantee he has worked and has been working every single day around some sort of exercise to be able to make that save, and it shows, you know, how fit and strong and agile he is to make a save. It's, you know, to do it in a game, I bet his goalkeeper coach is absolutely buzzing, because it's, you know, you make that save in training and you're training for it, you'd be buzzing. You know, I'm celebrating training sessions, doing things like that with goalkeeper coaches and fellow goalkeepers. To then do it in a game, you know, I think Ramsdale went up to him at the end of the game and was like, you know, you could see he was celebrating as if, you know, because that is what you live for. It's the same as, you know, a striker scoring. That's you know, for me, you know, for a goalkeeper, that's what you live for. You know, making them big saves, and he deserves every plaudit for that. Absolutely tremendous.
Yeah.
Also, just quick mention, the Ben White kicking the ball
against
John McGinn was wonderful.
I mean,
Benny Blanco, you absolutely legend, you.
I mean, yeah. I can't knock him for that. I loved it. I loved it.
Do you know what? Everyone will love to hate him, but everyone would love to have him, or a player like him. He is there for his teammates. He is there for his team, and he doesn't care about anything else. He is in the moment, and I think that kind of sums him up. And some people won't like it. I don't care. It shows where he is die by the sword for his teammates. And he wasn't having it. John McGinn took the piss and he kicked the ball at him for it. Yeah, gave him a bit of his own. I loved it.
But do you know what? There's lots of players like, so Robbie Savage, Drogba, I used to hate him. Yeah. But if he was on my team, you just adore, because you know, it's like, I suppose, like Roy Keane or Scholesy or Vieira. Everyone else hates them. But, you know, I suppose Song from Tottenham, I absolutely hate Song, but I know lots of other people love him. But he is that guy, you just know he don't care, and he just absolutely, you know, he loves his, it's absolutely, you know, it's almost going back to the old school, I suppose, in that, you know, we talk about the 90s and that, you know, you do and die by your colours, and the team that you play for, and I think he embodies all of that, and as you just say, he's just like a gangster, isn't it? He needs them sunglasses on, you know, like they do it on the Instagram when they put the meme sunglasses at the edge, yeah.
And also, just on the back of that, Carsley, continue not to pick him, mate. Let Benny Blanco go and have a little holiday in Dubai, so that he's ready for the rest of the season. He don't need to play for England. That's fine.
Do you think that's a continuous? Because obviously that's a big news today. that obviously he hasn't been picked, and obviously he has picked his team, and there's a few Gibbs Whites in there, which I think is quite exciting, and he's continuing down the path of Southgate picking players that are in form, if you like. Are you surprised that Benny Blanco's not been picked?
I'm indifferent on that bit. I don't know. I think something must have rocked the FA quite desperately for them to continue not to pick him under a new manager. Again, he's probably one of the best right-sided defenders in the country, and with Kieran Trippier announced his retirement and Kyle Walker not in the squad, he's your go-to guy for that position. And for him not to continue, for the FA to continue to not pick him, shows that it's probably just more than the coaching staff and the management at the time why things have escalated. That's a saga that we might never ever know the bottom of.
I wonder whether there's a little bit of a face-off going on where there's an element of we want you to make yourself available, and Ben White strikes me as a type of person, not a player, but a person who's like, no, I don't need to do that. And so I wonder whether he's just kind of would continue not to pick me. You're right, he's probably in the top 3 defenders who are currently available to play for England in the right back position. I would say he's number 1 personally, but it's.
But do you think it's because he's snubbed? Because obviously we don't know exactly what happened. But do you think it's more the fact that he snubbed them, and it's like, well, actually, we're bigger than you, that we won't.
It's the old FA mentality.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is.
Like they would never go and hire the right manager for the right job at the right time. Like for instance, Brian Clough years and years ago in the late 70s, early 80s, they could have had him then, and they didn't, and they failed. And England suffered because of it.
Yeah, but you can't. Harry
Redknapp, mate, he should have been England captain.
Another one.
I think he should. I would love to see
Sam
him.
Allardyce had it, but then he got done for whatever he done. And
he basically got done for the same thing that Sven got done for, really, when he said he'd go and manage Villa.
Yeah.
There is an element of cutting your nose to spite your face. Like, he is in at least the top 3. Like you say, you could argue he might be the top right back in the country right now for the position or the requirements that England would need him for. But at the same time, he doesn't necessarily, from what it looks like and the way things are being reported, he doesn't see that as the be-all and end-all of his career to represent England. And a lot of England fans will be upset about that because you should represent your country. But then at the same time, there are a lot of those same England fans who would tear him down as not being good enough to represent the country in the first place anyway. It's just a reason to jump on somebody's back. And so I just kind of feel like, do you know what? He don't care.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's a good point to end the this week's podcast on. And guys, thanks a lot for coming again. And we'll see you next week.
And make sure you turn your microphone up next week, Cal.
Yeah, no, I'll make sure the volume's up.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks. Bye.